Hello, dear friends. This is Sofya Dorinskaya with you, President of the International Bureau for Human Rights and Mental Health and head of the Sofya Dorinskaya Center for Medical Information. Since it's autumn now, and I can see from the number of views that our videos on how to deal with the flu safely, where I talk about the short vitamin C regimen, have become very relevant, I decided to continue this topic in this video as there are a lot of questions. So first of all, regarding the children's vitamin C regimen, it is calculated individually for each child. And in order for us to calculate it, you need to send your child's age, weight, and height, pay a very small fee for this, and within 3 working days, you will receive the dosage calculation. If you need it urgently, it costs a little more, and within 24 hours, we will provide you with a regimen specifically tailored to your child. Next, I will tell you about some very simple remedies that you should use if you catch a cold yourself or if your child catches a cold. Why? This is because I strongly urge you to strictly limit your overall consumption of various pharmaceutical products. It is honestly always much better to handle the situation with traditional folk remedies, using some very reasonable and gentle methods, rather than immediately resorting to swallowing various pharmaceutical medications that often have many unwanted side effects and can lead to some very unpleasant consequences. So let's take a close look at some very simple and effective remedies to help you get yourself back into peak physical shape if you happen to catch a cold or feel a bit under the weather. So the regimen with vitamin C is clear. I'll leave a link under this video. Next, you need to soak your feet in hot water with mustard added. You simply lower your feet into the basin, cover the basin and your legs with a blanket, and sit like that. If you don't have a fever, warming your feet is an excellent remedy for dealing with a cold. Next, if you or your children come home and you see that it's cold outside and they've gotten their feet wet, this is a very common problem in St. Petersburg. You can rub their feet with vodka. For a child, rub their feet with vodka. For an adult, you can rub the whole body. And at the same time, be sure to give a hot drink. Tea with honey, tea with raspberries. By the way, raspberries contain natural aspirin, and it works very well to lower a fever. As for tea with honey, when you stir the honey directly into the tea, you can eat it separately, but according to research, it's better to dissolve the honey right in the tea. For some reason, it works better that way. By the way, the same goes for raspberries. You shouldn't eat them separately. You need to dissolve them in the tea. They really warm you up, make you sweat, the capillaries expand, and that's how the body gets warmed. You don't need to, well, if you're really chilled, an adult can drink a small amount of alcohol, but there's a problem with alcohol. Alcohol dilates the capillaries, and the warmth from inside first comes to the surface of the body, and then the person gets very cold. By the way, that's exactly why people freeze on the street when they're drunk. They feel hot, take off their clothes, the warmth leaves their body, and then they freeze for good. Yes, if they don't make it home. That's why I don't recommend drinking alcohol if you're cold. But hot tea with honey and raspberries, a hot mustard foot bath, and rubbing your feet with vodka, those are very good remedies. Moving on. Never forget about mustard plasters, but mustard plasters are usually painful. And well, it's unpleasant. If you or your children don't have a fever, you can make what's called a mustard wrap. What is that? You take mustard and brew it in boiling milk, following all the rules, just like you would dissolve powder in hot milk. That is, you gradually pour it in stirring so there are no lumps. I'm not a cook, so I won't go into detail about that. But what do you need to do? You need to brew mustard in hot milk until it reaches the consistency of sour cream. Then spread this mustard onto a cloth, leaving the center area clear because we don't apply it to the spine. Next, you place gauze on top and wrap the person's back right over the lung area, simply wrapping them with this cloth. To prevent it from getting wet, you can cover it with plastic wrap on top, then either put on a sweater or wrap a shawl around them. And the mustard wrap doesn't burn, but it warms the body very well. Use the mustard wrap. You can use it for adults, for an adult person, or for a child, as long as there is no fever. Yes. Apply these. Next. What can be used for a cough? There are excellent Soviet tablets. They are called cough tablets. They used to cost, I think, about 2 kopecks. Now they cost about 3 rubles. That's what they're called. It's a kind of paper package with 10 tablets inside. They're called cough tablets. They consist of thermopsis herb and baking soda. Thermopsis herb has expectorant properties, and the baking soda thins the phlegm. And these cheap tablets are actually so effective, they really do have expectorant properties. And they are absolutely safe, absolutely safe. Moving on. If you're sick, you definitely need to drink plenty of fluids. Cranberry tea, tea with lemon, honey with milk, and so on. So make sure you're drinking plenty of fluids. When a person sweats, they lose fluids, so it's important to replenish them. Remember, you shouldn't lower a person's temperature if it's below 38 degrees. Up to 38 degrees, the body is actively fighting the cause of the illness, and all processes are activated. Next. If the temperature is already above 38, no matter how much medicine is being undermined these days, and even if it's unpopular and so on, I urge you to take antipyretic tablets only as recommended by your doctor. For one simple reason, all antipyretic tablets have a harmful effect on your blood count, blood formation, and the red bone marrow. Guys, I understand that they are sold over the counter. I understand that they are inexpensive. I understand that it's very tempting to just go and buy them, take them, and supposedly nothing happens. But always consult your doctor, and always, if your temperature has dropped to the desired level, so to speak, well, if it has gone down, always start using gentle methods to improve your condition again. Antipyretic tablets are serious medication, especially when you give them to children. And here again, you need to stay alert. Of course, good nutrition is important. If a person eats poorly, even an adult, it's a huge problem. We receive a tremendous number of letters. I know how people eat in the regions of Russia, nevertheless. Watch out, don't spend your money on chips, don't spend it on Snickers bars or anything like that. Don't waste it. Try to buy butter meat. Maybe you'll be able to buy from farmers at a reasonable price. In other words, quality nutrition is the key to your health. If you are hungry, if a person is constantly hungry, they will get sick. So please watch your diet. The balance between work and rest is very important. When you have a day off, I urge you not to just sit in front of the TV, because unfortunately, spending your time like that does not actually allow your body to rest. In general, watch less TV. If you have a day off, you have eaten, go for a walk, look at the objects around you, walk until you are tired, and when you come, lie down to rest. So use your rare days off wisely and don't lie on the couch. If you really can't, then read books. When you lie in front of the TV and this constant stream of incoming information is coming at you, your body gets even more tired. And even if you fall asleep in front of the TV, it's more like some kind of hypnotic trance rather than real rest. Next. Of course, during an epidemic, please wear masks. And do not attend any public celebrations or events. If your work involves interacting with people, please wear a mask. Again, let me repeat. Always read the instructions for any medication prescribed to you, and always weigh the severity of your condition and the critical nature of your situation or your child's against the possible consequences that may result from using a particular substance. For example, I'll tell you about a substance, Coldrex, a medication sold over the counter and advertised as, well, a truly wonderful remedy that both reduces fever and does everything else. It contains a morphine-like substance called dextromethorphan. A morphine-like substance, meaning they've added a little bit of so to speak, a drug analog, although it's generally believed that it doesn't have any of the characteristics of these opioid substances. But nevertheless, guys, I know people who one way or another have gotten hooked on these substances. There are people who have become addicted to antipyretics, there are people who have become addicted to painkillers, and there are people who have become addicted to Coldrex, and they simply can't live without it. And they begin to experience symptoms very similar to the flu. But upon a much closer inspection, it turns out to be a mild case of drug withdrawal. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you can't make sense of the instructions for medications, and that happens, not everyone is a pharmacologist or a doctor, just ask us, and we'll always explain what a particular substance is made of in simple terms. We will always, so to speak, explain to you in detail and in simple terms what side effects this substance may have. So always look for the principle of helping a sick person is this. You always start with the simplest and most harmless option. There's no need to hit a person over the head with a sledgehammer right away. Sorry for the bluntness. Always look for something reasonable, something gentle, something safe, like drinking fluids, right? Or like a mustard compress or cough tablets. A wonderful remedy for cough is burnt sugar. It's excellent. And for those who might now try to say that I'm bringing up folk medicine here, I can tell you one thing. In the Soviet Union, whenever doctors came to the house, no one ever rushed into things. For example, when a child was sick, and it was clear that, well, yes, there was a bit of a fever, well, yes, giggles. These were the recommendations of the local pediatricians. That burnt sugar, plenty of fluids, and, warm up their feet, these were the things they advised. These were the recommendations of the local doctors. That was back when medicine wasn't hooked on the needle of these huge profits of pharmaceutical companies, when now they just pay doctors who have been driven into a corner and they're forced to somehow survive. So common sense hasn't gone anywhere. And I urge you, my dear viewers, always keep your head on your shoulders, and always, before you put anything in your mouth, make sure that it is truly something you should be doing. And for that, you need to know what these substances are and how they affect a person. If you can't figure it out yourself, we are your friends, and we will help you with this. This was Sofya Dorinskaya with you. All the best. Goodbye.